It is August 12, 2021. On a sweltering desert highway near Moab, Utah, a police cruiser's dashcam captures a white 2012 Ford Transit van drifting erratically across the double yellow lines. When the flashing lights activate, the van pulls over and officers approach the vehicle. What the police body cam footage records next will soon be scrutinized by millions of people around the world. A 22-year-old woman, tears streaming down her face, sits in the passenger seat. She is visibly frantic, hyperventilating, and clutching her knees. In stark contrast, the 23-year-old man in the driver's seat is unnervingly calm. He speaks to the officers with a polite, measured tone, smoothly downplaying the situation. According to authorities, multiple witnesses had just called 911 to report a man striking a woman. Yet after an hour of questioning, the police classify the incident not as domestic assault, but as a mental health crisis. They separate the couple for the night and let them go. 30 days later, that crying young woman would be dead, and the calm young man would vanish into thin air. To the outside world, Gabby Petito and Brian Laundrie were living the ultimate millennial dream. High school sweethearts from Long Island, New York, they had recently moved to Florida and got engaged. In July 2021, they packed their lives into a converted white Ford Transit van and set off on a cross-country road trip across the American West. Their goal was to become popular travel vloggers. On Instagram and YouTube, their life looked flawless. Sunsets in Colorado, barefoot walks through Utah's national parks, and wide smiles in front of the camera. The aesthetic was sun-drenched, carefree, and perfect. But this meticulously curated social media facade hid a rapidly deteriorating reality. Behind the glowing filters and #vanlife posts, the relationship was reportedly suffocating. Living in a tiny 70-square-foot van with no privacy acts as a pressure cooker for any couple. But for Gabby and Brian, it was toxic. Friends and family would later recount a dynamic marked by intense jealousy and controlling behavior from Brian. Gabby was the outgoing one, vibrant, social, and deeply invested in building their online presence. Brian was described as introverted, often uncomfortable with her outgoing nature, and allegedly resentful of the time she spent working on her blog. On the road, isolated from their support systems, this friction weaponized. The endless desert highways became a backdrop for constant, escalating arguments. The boiling point occurred in Moab, Utah. On August 12, a bystander witnessed Brian and Gabby engaged in a physical altercation outside a natural food store. The witness explicitly told the 911 dispatcher the gentleman was slapping the girl. When the Moab police intercepted their van, the officers were presented with a masterclass in manipulation. Brian calmly painted Gabby as the aggressor, claiming her anxiety was out of control and that she had scratched him. Gabby, deep in the throes of a panic attack, blamed herself, telling officers she had OCD and was just stressed about her website. The officers, seemingly charmed by Brian's polite demeanor, joked with him and suggested the couple just needed some time apart. They put Brian in a hotel and left Gabby in the van. The system designed to protect vulnerable people had completely missed the glaring red flags of domestic abuse. The road trip continued into Wyoming, heading toward Grand Teton National Park. On August 25, Gabby posted her final photo on Instagram. On August 27, a couple at a restaurant in Jackson Hole reported seeing Brian acting aggressively toward the restaurant staff, with an embarrassed Gabby apologizing for his behavior. After that day, Gabby Petito's voice went silent. Text messages sent from her phone to her mother in late August were suspicious, lacking her usual tone and referring to her grandfather by his first name, something she never did. Authorities now believe that sometime around August 28, in the remote wilderness of the Teton National Forest, Brian Laundrie violently attacked his fiancé. He manually strangled her to death, leaving her remains in an undeveloped camping area, On September 1st, 2021, the white Ford Transit van quietly pulled into the driveway of the Laundrie family home in Northport, Florida. Brian was behind the wheel. He was completely alone. For 10 agonizing days, he and his parents said absolutely nothing to Gabby's family, who were frantically trying to reach her. On September 11, Gabby's family officially reported her missing. Within hours, the case exploded. It became one of the most highly publicized missing persons investigations in modern history. The internet mobilized. Millions of amateur sleuths on TikTok, Reddit, and Twitter began dissecting their digital footprint, analyzing every vlog frame and Instagram tag. As the national spotlight intensified, Brian Laundrie refused to cooperate with the police, hiding behind his family's lawyer. Then, on September 14, he slipped away. He told his parents he was going for a hike in the Carlton Reserve, a massive 25,000-acre swamp in Florida, known for its dense, unforgiving terrain, alligators, and venomous snakes. He never returned. 5 days later, on September 19, the internet's crowdsourcing efforts paid off. Another travel vlogger reviewing their own dashcam footage realized they had captured Gabby's white van, parked in the Spread Creek dispersed camping area in Wyoming on August 27. They handed the footage to the FBI. Within hours of searching that exact location, search and rescue teams found Gabby Petito's remains. The coroner confirmed her death was a homicide by manual strangulation. Meanwhile, in Florida, a massive, multi-million-dollar manhunt was underway for Brian Laundrie. For over a month, law enforcement waded through neck-deep swamp water. Finally, on October 20, as the floodwaters in the Carlton Reserve receded, authorities discovered skeletal remains, along with a backpack and a waterproof notebook. Dental records confirmed it was Brian. He had died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head. Inside that notebook, the FBI found a written confession. Brian admitted to ending Gabby's life, claiming it was a merciful act after she injured herself, a narrative that experts widely dismissed as a final, cowardly attempt to control the story. The Gabby Petito case left a complex legacy. It highlighted the undeniable power of social media to mobilize and solve a case, proving that digital footprints can outsmart a killer. However, it also sparked a massive, necessary debate about missing white woman syndrome, the stark reality that thousands of missing Indigenous, Black, and Hispanic women never receive a fraction of the media coverage or police resources dedicated to Gabby. Today, the Petito family runs a foundation in Gabby's name, dedicated to combating domestic violence and assisting families of missing persons. The case is closed, but it serves as a chilling reminder of the dark reality that can hide behind a perfect social media grid. We have to ask ourselves, if police officers were better trained to recognize the subtle, psychological signs of a domestic abuser, would Gabby Petito have ever made it to Wyoming? If you appreciate our deep dives into the psychology and facts behind true crime, please subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and let us know your thoughts on this case in the comments below. Stay safe.